In today's mailbag episode of the Fantasy Football Show, one guy's question is going to power the entire episode and bring up 4 different names. 4 players that can win leagues, because the question is, who are the best 4 league winners in Fantasy Football 2022, Smitty, according to the data right now, according to ADP data. Give me 4 names, Smitty, right now that can win me my league based on ADP data. This marvelous man's question is going to trigger one of the biggest and best videos you're going to see all year from me or anywhere in the fantasy football video space. I'm going to break this video up into 2 different videos, one dropping today on the first 2 guys. I'll reveal all 4 on the other side of the intro, but I'm going to break down 2 of them, my 2 favorite, and then talk about the other 2 guys of the 4 that could win leagues at their current ADP. And in tomorrow's video, I might drop a number 5. I might get crazy and drop another one. Who knows? But 2 today, 2 tomorrow. I'm going to give you all 4 names on the other side of the intro, the Fantasy Football Show.
It begins now.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Take a lap.
Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Tony Pollard. I don't need to string you along and reveal one after the other. I want you to know up front on my videos what's going down. And I'm fully confident you're going to love every single minute of this show. These are the boys. You're looking at them right now. And I'm going to break down each individually. Joe Burrow and Breece Hall in video 1 today. And tomorrow I'll break down Etienne and Tony Pollard and surprise player number 5. And this player is going so much later than any of these guys. He's a double-digit round league winner. Let's get right into it, and we're going to start with Joe Burrow. Joseph Burrow. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
There's a lot to like about Joseph Burrow. I call him Joseph. You can call him league winner. Why is he a league winner? Let's start off with the fact that this guy could be. I'm not saying he is the number 1 quarterback, but he could be the number 1 quarterback in 2022 fantasy football. He could be the number 1 overall fantasy scorer in fantasy football 2022. Now, I have Herbert and Josh Allen ranked ahead of him. Not by a lot, but I do. Admittedly, I do. But because Joe Burrow could be better than both of them and be the number 1 overall fantasy football scorer, you gotta acknowledge the value, the cost of entry compared to the other 2 monsters in Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. Josh Allen is going somewhere in this round 3 territory. Somewhere in this range right here. Justin Herbert is going somewhere in round 4. Sometimes he falls into the top of 5. Joe Burrow goes at the end of round 5, but oftentimes dips all the way into the entire round 6, and sometimes you can find him even right here. Now, given that Burrow is almost as good, or arguably as good, as both Josh Allen, who's going in 3, and Herbert going in 4, this screams value. This isn't even early QB. This is win a league territory. You're getting the last player in fantasy football that could arguably finish as the number 1 overall scorer. You're getting him as your 6th drafted player. There's no better steal in fantasy football than Joe Burrow in round 6 at, let's say, 6.1 to 6.12. And if you got him in 7, walk straight to the bank. I understand some of you are going to be like, I'd rather take a Matthew Stafford later. Give me a Jalen Hurts, who I love in 2022. If I get sniped on Burrow and Herbert and Josh Allen and Mahomes, and I'm looking for my secret weapon number 5 quarterback, I'm looking at Trey Lance. I'm looking at Russell Wilson. I'm not saying they're not great picks at quarterback. I'm not saying you can't win 100 different ways. I'm not saying I don't deploy a later quarterback strategy when it all falls a certain way. But I'm telling you right now, there are occasions where I'm on the clock in the 3rd round and Josh Allen is available, but I like a handful of players in this area more than I like Josh Allen. Same thing for Herbert. I might be on the clock right here. Instead of taking Herbie here, I might see Breece Hall sitting there, and I'm going to take Breece Hall, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. But what I can tell you with absolute certainty is that I've never fallen into round 6 where Burrow's been sitting there, and I've seen other players that look more attractive than drafting Joe Burrow anywhere in 6 and especially top of 7. I never say to myself, oh, I don't know if I want to take Burrow here. That tells you something. about the value of Joe Burrow when you can contemplate other players over Josh Allen at the end of 3, when you can contemplate other players even at 5.1 over Justin Herbert. But you cannot say that about Joe Burrow at 6.5, 6.8, 6.12. That alone tells you you're dealing with a different bargain, a different level of upside versus risk. Joe Burrow has no risk in round 6. We can't predict season-ending injury. Every player could get hurt, but he literally has only upside in round 6. You can literally build a team that looks something like this when you're going Joe Burrow in round 6. Hollywood Brown at 5, Joe Burrow at 6, ETN and Breece Hall, Jamar Chase and Javonte. Or let's try Najee Harris, Debo, AJ Brown, Breece Hall, Eli Mitchell, and Joe Burrow. Harris, Debo, AJ Brown, Breece Hall, Mitchell, Joe Burrow.
Championship.
Now, maybe you don't like Mitchell.
Smitty, but I like what you're saying, but I don't like Eli Mitchell. So what do I do now?
Use the formula, use the process, not the player. Replace out whoever you want. If you look at this board and you say, I don't really like Debo there, I like Tyreek Hill, then take Tyreek Hill. I don't like AJ Brown, I like Andrews, take Andrews. Whatever the case may be, the formula here is you build yourself a team that has Joe Burrow on it. When you were contemplating taking a guy I love in Josh Allen in the 3rd round, and I'm an early quarterback supporter. I'm an advocate of early quarterback when it makes sense, but people are calling Joe Burrow early quarterback. My point is that Joe Burrow is win a league capable from this round 6 pick, because it gives you something that you could have got right here, but you passed on and landed here. Now you got AJB and Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen, and probably a round 6 wide receiver could be potentially Allen Robinson or Bateman. It's league winning. Joe Burrow in round 6 wins you a league if he stays healthy. He could throw for 45 plus touchdowns with the extra game. Don't shake your head and say, no, he doesn't run as much as Josh Allen. You're taking him in round 6. You're taking a guy that can rank number 1 overall in fantasy football scoring in the 6th round, maybe 7th round. Mark my words, this will be the biggest steal in hindsight once week 1 kicks off. You know how you have an amazing pick on your hands when week 1 kicks off, and nobody will trade that player remotely close to their draft value. Quarterbacks are different than other positions. Sometimes when you drive a quarterback off of the lot, they don't depreciate, lose value like a car right when you drive off. Most of the time they go up in value. But the moment week 1 kicks off, even if someone offered the 3.1 right after week 1 started for Josh Allen, who went at 3.10, the guy that has Josh Allen isn't accepting the 3.1 player for Josh Allen. Josh Allen now holds something along the lines of top 15 overall value. That tells you that the quarterback is grossly undervalued on draft day. I tell you all this so you get a sense of how I value quarterbacks and how I value especially Joe Burrow, because he's almost in my mind right next to Josh Allen. And if Josh Allen in my mind is very arguable and undervalued at 3.10, I'm telling you, Josh Allen is undervalued at 3.10. If I'm telling you that, I must really like Joe Burrow and a lot of other players downstream to be avoiding a player that I think is a bargain at 3.10. 6.1. You're looking at the answer to winning a lot of leagues in 2022. Now we move on to
Breece Hall.
This kid has league winner written all over him. The only time you're going to hear me ever hesitate when calling Joe Burrow the steal of 2022 fantasy football drafting, it's what I'm talking about.
Breece Hall.
This man right here can win. No. This man will win leagues for people in 2022. I can't predict injury. He could be out for the year on some freak injury in the preseason. If he stays healthy, he's 100% tied with Joe Burrow if the wind's blowing a certain way on a certain day. But he's the only one that can compete with Joe Burrow for being my number 1 steal in 2022 that can single-handedly be that guy that people go,
God, he got him in round 4?
my buddy got him in round 4.
Remember when Joe got Breece Hall in round 4? He won because he got Breece Hall in round 4. Yeah, it was Breece in round 4. Holy crap, I'm looking at last year's draft. You got Breece Hall in round 4?
This is that pick that everybody talks about. This is that pick that people wish they could take back from you and apply it to their draft so they could win their championship. This guy could be top 5 to 10 overall. Let me show you something that's going to blow your mind. At the risk of you leaving my content and my channel and never coming back, let me show you something. These are the industry consensus rankings at Fantasy Pros. That means that there's over 200 or 300 analysts involved in this average. And if we click on running backs, we're going to find Breece Hall down around 20 overall. Hundreds and hundreds of fantasy football analysts averaged together produce a ranking of 20. Let's click on it. What if we click on rankings and we scroll down here? Yes, I am the number one analyst in the industry for Breece Hall's ranking, meaning I have him the highest. I have him finishing predictively at number 5 overall in 2022. I know. Don't go anywhere. I've done this before.
Don't leave. He knows what he's doing.
I'm predicting here. Okay, it's uncomfortable to predict things like this before they happen. It's uncomfortable to call, like I did last year, Najee Harris worth a top 10 to 14 overall pick. People kept saying,
what about Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year, Smitty? We can't trust Najee.
You can't be scared of a previous miss. You got to be like Brett Favre. You throw 2 INTs, you get right back onto the field. I have no concerns about what happened with Clyde, that will happen with this guy. What's happened with Javonte is going to happen to Breece Hall. You start living scared, you are going to miss out on having a guy like Breece Hall break out on your roster. I am not telling you to draft Breece Hall number 5 for running backs. I'm telling you that my projection is that Breece Hall will finish number 5. I'm telling you to take full advantage of what we just saw. 20. Breece Hall ranking 20 across the industry. Average together, he's ranking 20. I'm putting him at number 5. I just showed you there's not an analyst in the entire fantasy football industry putting their rankings to the test and being measured that has Breece Hall ranked higher than I do.
You know.
Again, I can't preface enough. You need to be smart with this. I do not want to get 100 DMs and messages and comments in the YouTube video that say something like,
Smitty, you better be right. I did what you said. I took Breece Hall at 1.10 in a redraft league.
Breece Hall belongs in the top 6, top 5, top 7 in Dynasty, but in redraft, he's a 4th rounder. I'm here to tell you, I'm sounding the alarm that Breece Hall is going in round 4 and we're going to take him there, but he shouldn't be going there, and we're going to win leagues because of it. I'm not here to tell you to reach for him. You have to use this information to crush your leagues, or the information's no good. Would I take him in round 3? Have I taken him in round 3? Yeah, we took him in the throne draft at 3.1 because all the running backs were gone. Situation's gonna matter a ton. If you're looking at players like Barkley, Leonard Fournette, James Conner, Keenan Allen at wide receiver, I mean, these are not players that rival the upside Breece Hall has. I'm sorry, you can disagree with me. You might like Barkley more than Breece Hall. I don't, and that's okay. But if you're looking at your pre-rank list and Breece Hall is the 15th player available and you pick 10 picks later, let him fall. Let him fall. Play the odds game and let Breece Hall fall to round 4. But if you feel he's going to go before your next pick, he's a 7th or 8th overall player ranked and you got 12 picks until you go again, you got to take him. If he's the number 2 running back on the pre-rank list and you've got 10 picks until your next pick, he's gonna go, you gotta take him. There's nothing wrong with taking Breece Hall anywhere in round 3 if you have to. If the ADP rank, and only the ADP rank, tells you, you have to. But if you ignore the ADP rank and Breece Hall is like a scroll down and you draft him at 3.2, you're not listening or paying attention and you're missing out on a whole bunch of value that you had in your grip and you let it go. Like buying a house that's $300,000 and you know it's going to go to 500,000, but you just all of a sudden want to pay 400K when you could pay 300K if you're patient. Just because it's going to 500K doesn't mean you need to leave 100K on the table. Don't reach for Hall if you don't have to, but don't be afraid to make him your 3rd drafted player anywhere in round 3. And don't tell anybody what I'd pay bottom of the 2nd round value if I had to. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, because we are winning league after league after league after league with this value. Top 5 running back in 2022. Buckle up. That is part number 1. I appreciate you watching, and You are going to love part number 2, where we focus on the other 2 players that we talked about at the top of the show. Tony Pollard
and Travis Etienne.
These 2 guys, like Hall and Burrow, can win you a league, especially around their ADP. So get your popcorn ready for part 2 dropping tomorrow. Now get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Get your lifetime membership, your one-on-one text advice. Click that underdog link below in the description, or go to thefantasyfootballshow.com and click the underdog banner that you see right here. It'll be at the top heading of the site. Use promo code Smitty. Get your DFS on and play these Best Ball Mania 3s, where there's $10 million in prizes, $2 million to first place, $1 million to second place, 470th place gets $1,000. They pay crazy amounts of prizes all the way down to 470th place.
Hey, Miss Smitty, I finished 470th place. Are you proud of me? Do you know what 470th place pays, Miss Smitty? $1,000.
She's impressed. Impress your lady and finish 470th place and get $1,000. Click the link, Underdog Fantasy. Link is in the description, thefantasyfootballshow.com. And I'm live every single Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, here on the Fantasy Football Show. So join me live. And also, I go live whenever there's breaking news. So if something happens, a player's traded, somebody signs a new contract, there's a big rumor, I go live whenever there's breaking news. I walk into the studio, I fire up the Zigmeister, which is my version of Jarvis, and he's half as talented. I'll tell you that right now. Ziggy, is Breece Hall on the moon?
Here's something I found on the web. According to Wikipedia.org, Hall is a lower impact crater in the southeast part of the block of Sun.
I fire up the Zigmeister, we power the studio on, and we immediately go live because I work for you. And don't miss part 2, where I'm talking about ETN and Tony Pollard and surprise number 5, maybe more. It drops tomorrow. Now get out of here.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.